Hello, welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I am Allison Joy, and today we are working on some Lord of the Rings pages. I started this one the last Friday I was on here doing a solo, and we're going to finish that one today. And if I finish this one early, we'll work on this one. So that is the goal for today. I still have my reference photo there. So we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, Rolando. Lovely to see you today. Thank you for popping in. So yeah, just quiet Friday. I try to do these every other Friday. I tend to have the afternoons off from my day job. So here we are. Yeah, so finish it up. I picked this one last time. Did, of course, all the trees and the sky and the water and the boat. But didn't get to any of the actual people, well, hobbits, and I don't know if elves count as people. I've not read any of the Lord of the Rings or any of Tolkien's stuff in a really long time. I don't remember how that all breaks down. So not sure if they're technically people or elves don't count that way. So either way, I'm going to start in the back with Gandalf. And this one might go pretty quick just because yeah, it might, and it might not. You never know. So, yeah. So anyway, I am going to put some music on in the background just because I am having one of those days where the quiet is sort of I'm going to say messes with my head, but it's distracting. Technically the same, but I went and saw this the cartoon adaptation in the theater when I was really little. So technically I didn't know about him until this movie. But after that I did. And my father was a really big fan of the Brothers Hildebrand. So around the time this movie came out, he got a coffee table book of some of their art that had a lot of Tolkien art in it. So between this movie and that book, and then the Hobbit movie that came out from Rankin Bass, also a cartoon, between those three things, I found out about them pretty quick. I had a Hobbit storybook record, but I didn't read any of the books until like my 20s. I bought them when I worked at Blockbuster. I would go every payday to Walden Books in the mall. And if you remember malls and Walden Books, you're probably as old as I am, or almost as old. And they had a really cool gift set for like $10 that had, no, I'm sorry, it was a 4-pack. It had The Hobbit, Fellowship of the Rings, the Two Towers, and then The Return of the King. So it was like all 4 of them. And I read The Hobbit, I read Fellowship of the Rings, and then I never actually finished reading the other 2, still to this day. That's actually one of my goals for this year is to go back and I'm going to reread Tolkien, but I'm going to start with The Hobbit and reread it because it's been a while. And I might do some of it through books on tape, like Audible. I have a bunch of credits on my account still that I need to use up. So I might do it that way. It's because I spend so many hours filming coloring videos. It's nice to have something in the background besides just YouTube videos. So, but it's a good year, I think, to reread some Tolkien and read the ones that I never read and just saw the movies for. But I also might do audiobook, because I do remember part of why I didn't end up getting more than a few pages into the Two Towers was his writing is very dense. So it wasn't always super accessible. So book on tape might help me get around that. So, see, actually, book on tape dates me as well. It's Audible now, audiobook. Okay. I used to do that. I used to have a really long drive to work and then home, and I would go and buy books on tape unabridged. I would buy the Stephen King ones, which were like 12, 13 tapes, and go from there. So that's odd. Okay, it was just a momentary blip in the music. But yeah, so I'm going into Gandalf's beard. It's super blue, I guess. I started with a really light blue. I'm doing some darker, cool gray. And I'm going to go back in with a light blue. Just because he's so much blue, and with the sky and the water, I don't want him to completely sort of blend in and just be sort of that little bit of face right there. So yeah, it's one of the things I'm looking forward to this year, is going in and finishing some old series I never finished, and reading some stuff that I've always wanted to read but never got around to. So, it'll be good. I've got to avoid being chronically online this year. I was online way too much last year, and that's not really good for your mental health. Alright, let's see. Alright, so his little shoulder thing is a lighter blue, and the rest of it. And I'm just using this Prismacolor 72 count set. I don't want to break out sort of my big case. I had to do some cleaning and rearranging this week. And because of that, stuff is sort of all around. And this was just handy, so we're going to use this today. I'm sort of in the middle of some construction, renovations, and it's a little stressful at times, not going to lie. It's a good light blue. Alright, and then for the darker part, I'm going to use ultramarine, which is just a really, really dark blue, but it's also really different from all the other blues. And it's vaguely close to what this reference photo was using. So I don't worry too much about getting it exactly right, but I want to get it close. I'm going to try to just use one color of blue for his hat and parts of his robe, and just try to get some texture with the pressure and whatnot. Use the tooth on my paper, sort of try to get some texture out of it. Yeah, it stands out enough from everything else that it's not too much blue. If you're listening, let me know if that music is too loud. It's about the right volume for me, but sometimes the right volume for me is not the right volume if you're listening. Hello, thank you for popping in. Lovely to see you today. I hope you're having a good day. It's me and Rolanda are hanging out. So lovely to see you. Like I said, the part of the reason I grabbed this second page to work on is it seems like this will go pretty fast. I'd like to try to shoot for the full 2 hours today. Just because it's good for discipline. I had all those months where we were moving and I wasn't able to stream at all. And first couple of streams back, I ended a few of them a little early just because I was like, it's so weird. But I'm going to get back in the habit of sticking to a schedule. So. I'm going to put a poll probably next week on my community tab. These Friday solos, I still have some Star Wars pages I want to do for these, but otherwise I'm pretty open. So I'm going to put some stuff to vote for to see what, and I'll put Lord of the Rings there because we can keep working on this if people want me to keep working on this. And then I'll throw some other options up there. You said that on these Friday streams, there's some consistency. But yeah, so. Maybe once I finish the Star Wars, because it's a particular Star Wars book I've been working on. Once I finish that, I probably will just, especially if I'm going to be re-listening or rereading the Tolkien books, I might just keep doing Lord of the Rings arcs. Once I'm done with the Star Wars, I might replace it with Lord of the Rings. And so, let's see. Normally I would use eggshell for scan, but that's in the other set. So I'm just going to use cream here. Let's see. Yeah, do that. And normally I would also use pumpkin. I don't know if I've got a pumpkin in this. I do not. I've got orange and I've got goldenrod. Oh, goodness. Dark purple terracotta. I can use. I go light with the terracotta and vermilion. It's not quite the same as it when I use the pumpkin orange, but it should work. It's kind of got, in the reference at least, it's really peachy, so I'm going to go in and peach them up, but first I'm going to get some undercolor in there. Because again, I don't want them to just be a blob of peach and then they'll evolve to gray and blue. And I'm going to use this Imperial Violet for his eyes. It's a much darker, more purpley blue. And I'm just using beige to sort of smooth out the oranges and browns that I used. And now I'm going to go on top of that with peach. Hopefully it'll get this skin tone enough. You won't. Hello, Oz. Thank you for popping in. Lovely to see you today. It is a sad day today. For those who haven't heard, and I'm going to assume this is what Oz is referring to, but John Irwin, the voice of He-Man from the Filmation cartoon, passed today. Well, he passed on the 20th, but it was announced today. I found out because I saw Melinda Britz, the voice actress who played She-Ra, she posted about it on her Facebook community. So, kind of a bummer, honestly. He was not, I mean, like, he would do public appearances and stuff, but he wasn't as active in the fan scene as some actors are. So, it's too bad. He allegedly was very shy and very private, so. Which I'm going to assume is part of why it took, you know, almost like 11 days for the news to hit. That's because, you know, family, and it just, which is fine. We don't, as much, you know, no matter how much we appreciate and adore these actors and actresses and other celebrity types, we don't sort of own any sort of right to private life stuff like that. So, but he was, by all accounts, he was very kind and generous. He's really a nice guy. Perfect choice for He-Man. I read, I think it was in the Lou Scheimer biography co-written with Andy Mangles, where Lou Scheimer was just talking about how incredibly warm and generous and kind John Irwin was, and just, you know, despite the fact that all of us in the 80s adored him as children, that it sort of never went to his head, and we always took that really seriously. He was allegedly sort of embarrassed by sort of the idolization of him. So, you know, it's nice to see, like, calling it humble feels really weird and quasi gross to say it that way, but it's just nice to see that, like, the, you know, sort of the fame and the everything that came with the role, it didn't go to his head. He didn't turn into some sort of indulgent asshole like so many celebrities can. Yeah, very much so. That's what everything I read talked about, how private he was, which, again, like, and we live in an age where so many, you know, and I say this as somebody who's on YouTube right now and share quite a bit of sort of my private life with y'all. But we, you know, like, a lot of people do overshare. I'm very careful. I don't share everything. You know, some stuff doesn't need to be on the internet. But, it's kind of cool to, you know, when there's a celebrity who is, you know, private, but I mean, there are definitely a lot of celebrities I feel like I wish we knew less about. So it's kind of nice to see the other side of it, where there's a celebrity who just kind of minded their own business and did their own thing, and and turn into a complete douchebag. I mean, of all the celebrities I've thrown down with on Twitter, well, not that Twitter exists anymore, but John Irwin is not one that ever would have happened, so for a variety of reasons. I think I'm still blocked by James Woods. I told him one time, asked him one time how it felt to be acted by Sean Young in The Boost. And then was like, and we all know how terrible she is. And then another time I asked him what it was like not being able to act his way into a paper bag, much less out of one. So that one didn't get me blocked. It was a Sean Young one. So anyway. I just wasn't feeling his vibe that day and let him, well, several days and let him know it. But, you know, it's nice when, not that it's not like James Woods was an actor that I was, as a kid, was like, oh my god, James Woods, I idolize him. But I think John Irwin being a jerk would have been way different, so I'm glad kept stuff private to himself. Especially because it just seems like that's what he wanted in his life. So. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can overshare sometimes, so I try to. It's one of the fun exercises of doing this solo stream is not necessarily trying to fill every moment with chatter. So yeah, it's a good exercise for me. It's, I'm usually, what is the line in, it's like Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction when she's talking about the uncomfortable pauses. It's like I often, so yeah. Alright, that looks pretty good. And now is the trick because he's got so much brown that I'm gonna have to, like, really dark right here. This is all lighter brown. So yeah, it's going to be trying to balance out the brownness of it. So it's really dark this, so I'm going to go in with dark brown for that first layer of it. And this is really light. So you just use burnt ochre for that. And put some of that down right there for the ore. Use this sepia for the rest of his little fur collar up here. Should help keep it from blending into the brown of the beard. It's a little bit darker than the reference, but that's okay. You have to be exact. And I need it to be dark because both of these hobbitses have sort of brown hair. So. You don't want their hair to blend into his hair and his fur. Oh, shoot. That is not a problem. And it's the whole fur side over here. That's pretty blendy. That's blending in a lot now. Going with goldenrod and put a little, even though it's not quite accurate, you put a little goldenrod in here, that should help it all sort of stand out. So that it's just not a big blob of brown all up in here. So that's what we're trying to avoid. And since I use sort of reddish colors in this tree, it should stand out better. With that bit of gold in there. And again, not at all precisely what that is, but that's okay. It's an artistic liberty. Here we go. Alright, that works. Oh yeah, I'm looking at it on the camera and it works really well. Definitely join us right now because date night right now is Saturday because of the craziness of the rest of our lives right now. So I have not been able to make a Clubhouse in person in a while because that's usually when we're out, dinner, movie, just together time. Hopefully that will change once we have the remodel stuff done. It should actually start shifting. It's just the way that sort of cuts up our week. So, but you definitely should join us at least in chat. And if you ever want to jump, I mean, if you ever decide you want to overshare like we do on the internet, let us know. I'm happy. You can be a guest sometime on a Sunday if you ever want. If you ever want to jump on the internet with us and overshare that way, let me know. For sure, yeah, and especially like this time of year, and we're just getting settled in a new town and new living arrangement, so yeah, right. There are a lot of people in there. All right, so for his bracers, it's more brown. Surprise, surprise. Oh, I should figure out how to get. I should get little sound clips so I could have dropped that lady. What is it? Celia Black? I think that's how you say her name. The surprise lady. I need to do that and get the Tanera's her Everybody's So Creative sound clip. And then anytime I'm being too creative, I'll just hit the sound clip to remind myself to not be too creative. I will say we had a gathering of friends for the holidays, and somebody brought a dish, and when I set it down on the table and was explaining it, before I could stop myself, I had a glass or two of champagne. I did say out loud, "Everybody's so creative." And 2 or 3 of the people at the party who knew what that was from busted out laughing. Luckily, the person who made the dish did not know what that was from. But yeah, and it was a very creative dish. So not everyone. Some people, I think we need to normalize and get back to a place where people know it's okay to sometimes stop at the store and get a bag of chips and a jar of salsa, and that's your contribution to a potluck. Like, not everybody needs to cook. It's okay sometimes to just accept. Like, you can get a sheet cake, you can get those containers of cookies, you could get really nice bread from the bakery. Like, there are a lot of things you can get that don't involve you murdering stuff to make casseroles or desserts, if you could even call it that. So, let's normalize that, people. Not everybody needs to make something for a potluck. Sometimes you just show up with a bag of chips and chips and salsa, like. You don't know your way around. Well, the problem is though, sometimes the people who do stuff like this think they know their way around the kitchen. So it's, you have to also break down for them that they're not very good at kitchen stuff. And admittedly, that's not something that's entirely fun to do. So yeah. Here I'm just gonna go for orange. I'm gonna add any brown because he's got so much brown. Just gonna do like just regular orange to get in there for his skin. And then once I peach it up, it should help. It's a little something else though. I'm gonna actually touch. If I can get it out of the container. There we go. Put a little pink actually. A little bit of pink once I go over it with the peach should work pretty nicely for him. And I bet he drinks enough beer and stuff that he probably has a reddish pinkish tone anyway. Oh, but help if I didn't throw pencils. Sorry about that. Sometimes the hand spasm is not at the best time and place. There we go. Alright, time for the peach. Hello, Kenzo. Welcome. Lovely to see you. It's nice to see Kenzo has taken a break from making videos about smaller stature figures to hang out with us today. How you doing, Kenny? Hopefully things are good. I have not checked messages, so if anyone has sent messages about stuff, I haven't seen them yet. I slept in this morning. Did some administrative work, and then ate lunch and then jumped on live. So I've not been quite hopping through messages. So if anything exciting has happened, I've not yet seen it. Or not exciting, depending. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna go. Some of the colors of their little outfits a little are interesting. So I'm gonna try my best to sort of create the colors with. If I had the full range, it would be easier, but that's okay. I'm gonna start with yellow ochre for his shirt. I think it's the same guy. Yeah, it looks like it. Some of the art in this coloring book, it's almost like they think all the Hobbitses look alike. I can't always tell one Hobbit from the other, but we'll do our best. Alright, we've got some basic layers done for that. Alright, I'm going to use goldenrod for the rest. Go back over the shirt with this goldenrod. You have, yep, exactly. Everyone should do videos with Delta 17. It's one of, I just, you know, we are obviously a lot of us friends with Ken, so it's like our friend is making it, but at the same time, like, if you're gonna have friends, be friends with somebody who's making a toy line, Delta 17 is a good one. I only have the one figure right now, but oh man, once I sort of start buying things that aren't just to fill in holes in my vintage collection, I'm going to pick up way more Delta 17 stuff. Because there are some nice looking figures in that one. But, and especially, in my humble opinion, because Super 7 is now doing the Reaction Plus O-Ring Joes. I feel like between Delta 17 and that, like, we put together a pretty nice O-Ring collection without having to sort of spend a lot of money to go buy vintage stuff. So I know there are people who would be horrified at this suggestion, but it is what it is. Alright, let's go over this Festivus page. So this is way more of like a mustard golden. But again, I'm going to be take a few artistic liberties here. I'm getting the basic power level. That's kind of all that I care about. So. I think mine was too, actually. I mean, I have some vintage O-ring things that I picked up a few years ago. I think it's the first brand new O-ring figure. I'm just going to go in with sepia and sort of map out strands and sort of the flow and the locks. And again, trying to figure out ways to keep it from all blending in. Yeah, there we are. I think the really dark sepia with the Sierra over it, the Sienna, Sienna brown. But it should make it different enough that it doesn't blend into his shirt or to his furry collar thing. I still need to get you agreed. I also need to get a set. I'm not a huge Ghostbusters fan in the least, but those O-ring Ghostbusters are super nice. So, oh, interesting. I'm glad they're doing that. I know a lot of people have wanted Panther and Masterverse. And considering they have a mold for it, it seems silly that they haven't done it yet. Is it going to be Revelations Revolution, or is it, which one is it, Ken? Do you know? Are we doing vintage, or? That's cool. Hopefully they start, I mean, I will be passing because I cherry pick Masterverse at this point. But I know a lot of people really want Panther and Masterverse. But also, it's just, I'm hoping they start doing some Masters of the Universe drop every month through Mattel Creations, be it Origins or Masterverse. And they kind of have to if they're going to actually finish off the vintage line in Origins. But I could also spread that out. It would kind of be nice if they mixed it up a little. I know everyone's like, they need to finish it now, but at the same time, the longer they sort of space it up and break it up with other characters, you know, the longer the line sort of goes. Looks like all these hobbits have blue eyes, so hopefully that's accurate. That's what we're going with here. Oh, very nice. Okay. I somehow missed that. All right. It sounds familiar now that you've mentioned it. Oh, nice. Yeah, I got the Masterverse motherboard for the same reason. Some of the Masterverse figures are really good. And some are very mediocre, but if you're building a fantasy figure line, there are quite a few Masterverse figures that would mix in very nicely, so I've got 2 or 3 extra Anjas I picked up that I basically just need to like swap the heads onto other figures. And then 1 or 2 of them I cut her hair off of so that I can sculpt something on top of it. When the remodel is done, I'll be able to get back to custom figures and painting figures again. So I'll actually have room and have a proper workshop for it. And then all the Kenzo very kindly had sent me a bunch of resin heads and a resin capture from the She-Ra and the Princess of Power DreamWorks series that, like, once I can get set up, that's top of the priorities. Because sadly, Mattel did not give us any figures from that. I think they did like 2 really super limited ones through Super 7, but like, good luck finding either of those. I feel like Mattel really dropped the ball on the She-Ra DreamWorks series. I don't get why, because I have the She-Ra doll, and I managed to find one of those. And then I had a friend get me the San Diego Comic-Con set at the Mattel store. So I have the Shadow Weaver and She-Ra set, which is, you can't see because I'm not on camera. But when I'm on screen and you can see sort of behind me, it's sort of in the stack behind me. Another thing, once the office is remodeled, that will be properly displayed. This is going to be nice, is getting a proper strawberry shortcake and She-Ra and Motu and Star Wars. I'll be able to set up my vintage Death Star playset. It would just be nice to be able to display everything finally and have room for it. So. It's going to be a busy year. Alright, one of the little hobbits is done. See, this titular heroine, you have got to show up for a clubhouse because there's a lot of Mythic Legions things that are discussed there. So, hello Thanos, lovely to see you. Thank you for popping in. Alright, so now we're to our next little hobbit. I'm assuming, I could be completely wrong, but I'm assuming from a color palette point of view that it's this little one in green with sort of blondish hair, and it's just so that we can have some different colors in here. This Lord the Browns. Start out with true green, which is sort of a very light green, and then I'll go in and start darkening it up afterwards. It's funny, until doing sort of this page and doing a little research and really looking at it, I didn't realize how much of an autumn color palette most of the Lord of the Rings cartoon was. Even sort of, like they're the blues, but it's still sort of all these, fall and winter colors. I think it works. It's just, it's a little bit of a challenge to keep them all from blending in together. I'm going with dark green now, using a certain shade. Oh, we're doing pretty good on time. It's just now hitting 15 minutes and almost done. So definitely we'll be able to finish this one this episode, which is good. It kind of bummed me out not finishing it last time. But we can't always finish them. If we finish a little early, I'll grab my copy of the DC Style Guide and look at a few pages. I did film a flip through last night and scanned a few pages to turn into coloring pages. So that was kind of fun. So if I can get all the editing done on time, that will drop next Wednesday. So if you have been curious about the interior of the DC Style Guide and haven't found a video yet online, I'll have you hooked up on Wednesday. Oh, fingers crossed, of course. It's me trying to fit in the editing of it. Alright, so I did dark green on top of the true green. And I'm going to go in now with spring green. I'm going to leave the inside with the darker greens. I'm not going to do any of that, just so that it has the look of the inside of sort of this little hood thing. So that will stay dark. But this, the rest of it, I'm going to do with this lighter green. Hello, Todd. Thank you for popping in. Happy Friday to you. Derek, hello. Well, and congrats for the end of your route for the day. If you missed it last night, Derek taught us all that, how crappy our parents were by being a really good parent last night on Retro Cavalcade. I have to say, I was very impressed by that. Just how well you handled it and negotiated with your child. So, kudos, Derek, for going out of your way to do a good job. Go back in with the dark green around for the inside of the hood. So make sure it's good and dark. All right, very nice. That looks pretty good, I think. Was he? I don't remember that. But possibly. It was a long night. All right. And since this hobbit has slightly lighter hair, we're going to start with some yellow ochre. Lightly go in with this really dark sepia brown. And just again use that to put a few strands in there. And I'm going to go in with goldenrod, which should give a nice sort of golden brownish blonde look, which is pretty close, I think, to what his hair is right there. So. All right, very good. CJ. You have told me that so many times and I always forget the CJ, so I apologize. It's just your on-screen name is so amazing. And I always am like excited when I vaguely get it. It's kind of a little bit of a tongue twister. But I'm always excited when I vaguely get close to getting it right. It's kind of like when you, I don't know who here has gone skydiving other than myself, but there's this point where it's time to jump out of the plane where you just have to like do it. And that's often how I feel with the tongue twister of your screen name. Like you just have to say it and you just have to do it and throw it all out there and hope for the best. So. But CJ, I'll probably write that down. So that way when I forget it next time, I can feel even more ridiculous that I keep forgetting it, even after I wrote it down. So I'm gonna go use pink for this little hobbit's skin, so that he has a different, because I'm accidentally sort of almost doing all of their skin tones the same, and that's really boring. So now I'm going to go in with light peach again. And very lightly on top of that, just do a little peach. Not a lot, but just a little. Again, just want them all to look a little different. Oh, that. Got it. Yeah, I can see why people thought that might have been kink shaming, but shaming a lackluster character, you know. Hello. I have not. I have, it has popped up a time or two, and it's always something where I'm like, I want to watch it, and then I don't make time for it. And I, in general, have been really bad about making time to watch stuff. Which is another thing I'm correcting this year, that I use a PC because I'm old school. But I finally replaced, I have the new PC that I need to get set up, and it has like a Blu-ray player in it. So I'm going to be able to start watching other than YouTube videos. So I've just gotten really bad about, you know, I'm not filming stuff, I'm not by a computer. Let's watch YouTube. And I know way too much. I've watched way too many drama videos and way too many true crime things, to the point where 5 minutes into every true crime video, I'm like, wait, I've heard this one before. And that's how I was like, wow, like there's 5 good true crime stories on all of channels on all of YouTube, and they do the same 5 or 6 stories over and over. So and finally, you know, once it's all properly set up, I'll be able to start watching the stack of physical media that is piled up. I have Beastmaster on Blu-ray, and it's been way too long since I've watched Beastmaster. Mark Singer's super hot back in the day. I think he was one of my first crushes. Han Solo and the Mark Singer and the Beastmaster. I also have on Blu-ray, this is cheesy that I have it, but I don't know if anyone else remembers from 1984, Angel with Donna Wilkes. Straight A Student by Day, Hooker by Night. Which, you know, back in the day, if you had cable, you probably saw it quite a few times. And it's one of those things where it's like, obviously my parents did not pay as close attention to what I was watching as they probably should as a child. But it was one of my favorite movies. But I also had seen one of the sort of edited for television versions. which is it's not the edited for television version comes across a little bit as a after school special, sort of like on acid, whereas the actual R-rated version is a little bit more exploitative. So it'll be fun to rewatch that one as an adult on Blu-ray with bonus features. But yeah, there was that year where it's like I had recorded a copy of it from like TBS, I think, and I would just watch and rewatch it. It was The Legend of Billie Jean, which I also picked up on Blu-ray. Like The Legend of Billie Jean, Angel, and then like one of the Friday the 13th movies on a VHS tape, and I would just watch and rewatch that tape one summer. So it'll be fun to watch all of those on Blu-ray and see how well they have or have not aged. I think Legend of Billie Jean is probably okay. You know, that one was definitely made sort of for teenagers and not as an exploitation film, so it's probably aged a little bit better than Angel, Student by Day, Hooker by Night. Oh yeah, okay, that tracks. And we'll definitely check that out. Wait, really quick. Okay. Yep. Agreed. Dino Riders for sure. Mask is coming back from the Loyal Subjects, and we don't know exactly what capacity, but I'm hoping it's there. Brave Star, yeah, I agree with Black Star. That was one of my favorite cartoons as a kid. I'm sure all the leather daddies watching are fine. I mean, unless that's why Oz is mentioning it. I mean, it's possible Oz is a leather daddy. But the Batman Who Laughs does kind of have that vibe to it. But there's nothing wrong with the vibe. So it's not a very good figure. He's also not very leather daddy though, so maybe it's more that you miss. I mean, there's some leather fetish. Never mind. It's fine. This is Derek. You need to jump on Clubhouse tomorrow night so we can discuss all of that. This is a Clubhouse discussion, not a Friday afternoon with my coffee. Lord of the Rings conversation. Right. Yeah, that's what a lot of people have said. I kind of miss the scale of Dino Riders. I think I've been digging into sort of a lot of late 80s storylines the last couple of weeks. Partly because I've been reading about a couple different non-fiction books about the toy industry that were written in the late 80s, early 90s. And there was a huge push to sort of that smaller scale. Dino Riders was a smaller scale. You had Mattel doing Jace and the World Warriors, but the cartoon was Jace and the World Warriors. Hasbro did Air Raiders, which I dropped a video a couple Saturdays ago where I sort of made like a toy booklet from one of the posters. Trying to think, Battle Beasts, like there were a couple of lines that were like all sort of like smaller stature, even smaller stature than the figures that Kenzo covers on his channel. But it's just really interesting that there's, and some of them even smaller than Mask figures. Like Mask was sort of like a downsize from like 3 3/4, so that they could do sort of a, so that Kenner could do the vehicles, because the Mask toy line just, figures alone would not have made it. You have to have sort of both. And it's just really interesting how all of the toy companies moved to sort of that smaller scale. And I know Cyberzoic is bigger, but I would really like to see somebody do a proper toy line that's paying homage to some of these old toy lines in the actual original scale. That's kind of one of the things I'm sort of digging about the early information we've gotten on the Loyal Subjects Mask line, is that they're talking about it being in scale with vintage. So it would be really nice, especially because, you know, a lot of the Mask toys in good condition, trying to pick them up now will set you back. So if it's like the Strawberry Shortcake line, they've done Rainbow Bright, and the pictures we've seen of Gem, like those are all sort of in scale with the original vintage without being exactly one-for-one recreations of them. So I'm really interested in seeing Mask, because it would be nice if it was in scale but not exact replicas. You know, so the people who have vintage toys, you know, like, you know, their vintage toys are still sort of unique. It would be nice to be able to, you know, pick up stuff in scale with that vintage toy line. And for them to make some of the figures and, you know, the things that didn't get made originally. So fingers crossed. Loyal Subjects, I know some of their other lines have been not so great, but so far the Strawberry Shortcake line and the Rainbow Bright lines I felt like have been pitch perfect for what I'm looking for, and sort of a retro line. So fingers crossed. Yep, it's a Saturday night for sure. We know what you mean, CJ. I'll remember CJ now. But anyway, yeah, Dino Riders. Anyway, as far as vintage toy lines, I would like to see come back. I'm on a huge sort of kick right now with Kenner's Glamour Gals. I don't think that would ever come back, just because it wasn't sort of that big of a deal. But because I'm sort of digging into girls' action figure lines, it would be really nice if somebody sort of resurrected Golden Girls and the Guardians of the Gemstones. And I think because the original storyline is very high fantasy, I think there's some really cool stuff. Like, that's a line I would love the Four Horsemen to, like, sort of revisit. I'm not sure what the licensing is like, because it was created by Leisure Concepts Inc., who created Thundercats for Lorimar. So I have not in my research found out yet if they just created the toy line or if it was created specifically. They created the concept and then Galoob bought it, or if Galoob went to them and said, "Hey, will you make this?" There is some animation floating around from one of the commercials. There are some animation cells, design of characters, you know, because there was sort of the half animated commercial. But also the coloring books are done in the same animated style. So I am wondering if there was an animation house that was going to do a cartoon, and it just never happened. Because it seems to be a lot of design for just a little bit of a commercial, because even Masters of the Universe did that. Filmation's first job for Mattel was that Castle Grayskull commercial. But even then they were working on, you know, they were in the early days of working on the cartoon. So it's really interesting. So I would like to see Golden Girl come back, which is, I don't know if it's possible because Galoob was purchased by Hasbro. But if Galoob didn't own Golden Girl outright, that Hasbro wouldn't be able to license it outright. So, long story short, Golden Girl and Guardians of the Gemstones. And if somehow the Four Horsemen can do that in their 7-inch scale, I think they would look really sweet. I mean, a lot of them would work with Mythic Legions, I think. So that's what I would, and you know, it's also a line where if Mattel were to, I mean, I would say I would love Mattel to do them in origin scale, but they haven't given us a proper Princess of Power line in origin scale, so I'm definitely not holding out much hope for Mattel figuring out whatever licensing would need to be figured to bring in Golden Girl. So that's for me. That's the vintage ribbon I would like to see brought back in some capacity. So hopefully. I mean, we've seen things like Zaktar's come back. I'm trying to remember who owns the right. I think Mattel also has the rights to Power Boards. I would like to see them do something with that. That was another one of those early 80s science fiction fantasy lines. And that was a really interesting line because, gosh, I'm spacing on his name, but the guy that they had designed the alien looks for that toy line was a really well-respected creator. He had some really amazing books of art he did of extraterrestrial, if I can say it even, extraterrestrials, where what he thought, you know, what alien life forms would look like, sort of based on sort of the reality of physics throughout the galaxy and in space. And he's the one who designed the bulk of the alien creatures for that toy line. So they were, you know, very scientifically based, but also very fantastical. So it would be really cool to see that toy line sort of revisited, because that's one where it's like, depending on what concepts that they never used, they could probably do some really cool toys if they, you know, were to go beyond just re-releasing new versions of the old stuff. Those are my answers. Talk amongst yourselves. Hello, shiny plastic people. Lovely to see you. All right. All right. This is pretty much done. So there we go. And let's see, we have 44 minutes left. Could start Gaudriel. Or, yeah, let's do that. Let's start Gaudriel. But before we start Gaudriel, I will quickly grab the DC style guide and have a smaller viewership right now, which is fine, and then have you guys pick one of 4 pages for me to make 4 pages. Stream this real quick. Alright, so this is style guide. So I'm thinking about maybe turning this into a coloring page, scanning it, of course, and cleaning it up. This one with Hawkmere and Hawkwoman. Possibly this one, which is a pretty big group shot, or even this one. So of those, if you have a preference, let me know, and I will prioritize that one. And the full flip through will drop on Wednesday, so if you want to spend a little bit more time looking at those, for sure. Sweet, I'm glad. I know it was supposed to come last week and didn't on time. Which reminds me, once you should also, Chris Classic, you should pick a page you like in the style guide, and I will scan it and make a coloring page. And next time you come on to a Sunday, we will color from it. We'll color that page. So. All right. I do not know if we'll finish Gaudriel today because it is about 45 minutes before quitting time, but we'll do as much as we can. And so we've got the rocks, we've got this little plant. I'm going to assume this is supposed to be all the different sort of lights behind her. This is a very blurry picture, but I picked it because I liked sort of the palette of it. So yeah, for the background, I'm going to try to do the pinks and the greens and try to sort of recreate the sparkliness behind it. I don't know how well it will go, but we're going to try. So I'm just going to start with some pink. There's just some light layers right here. I'm going now with light aqua. So we'll do the same thing. And this is True Green. And just canary yellow. That sort of is what gives it this sort of glowy look. Oh, why, thank you, Todd. Thank you very much. Excellent. Muchly appreciated. And it is, let me look, an ice cream cone. Perfect, thank you. What's weird is Stringer doesn't show me what the super sticker is. Luckily, I have the stream pulled up in the background so I can see that. So awesome, thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Yeah, a lot of that book that I sent you that time, going through the style guide, it looks like whoever did that coloring book basically took their copy of the style guide and just wholesale removed pages from it to make that book. So, and what's funny is the book itself that the scan is from isn't, a lot of the art wasn't very good. So whoever had that version of the style guide basically badly copied it. So yeah, there's a Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl with them side by side that came from that book, but it's like it was not the best page, and they basically cut them out from the style guide and posted it on a really not so great background. So all right, there we go. We have like a shimmery background for her. Yeah, you do have a lot of robins, Chris. You should do a video on your channel at some point just of your robins. There are a lot of people who really like robin and collect robin. There we go. We have her like a shimmery, glittery background. I'm gonna go in with a violet blue. Use that for, I'm assuming this is some sort of architecture binder. But since I'm using this, I'm going to go with this sort of some darker blues. She's also either in white or a really light blue, so I'm going to go darker so that she'll sort of stand out when it's time to get to her. If Kenzo is still watching, but I put all my shavings in an olive pan. Well, emptied and washed. So. Left over from the bring out the olives craze of a few months back. I'm going now with a light blue and sort of blend and blur this. Just catching up really quick. I will say Todd McFarlane does do good Batman toys. Some of those Vox Machina characters are really nice. I have 2 or 3 of those, actually. The ladies, of course. Almost done it. Okay, that's done. Alright, let's do the plants. And I'm just going to go in with true green again. Actually, because I want to. I'm gonna go in with my black pen. Doing a little bit more of the green. And I'm going to go in with dark green and sort of add some of the details and shading in there. Alright, here we are with our darker green. I'm going with frost green right now. And sort of use that to blend that light green and that dark green. And I'm going to go in with apple cream to finish the blusher off. Alright, plants are done. And I think these are just archways that go out. So since I've done sort of a shimmery effect for this, I'm going to just actually carry the shimmery effect down. So do more shimmer. And that will help because she's in blue. Because if I do all of this in blue, she'll get really lost. But if we do this, it should help her stay pretty distinct. All right, about this time. Thank you. Just gonna let it figure it out, but now that once I had it figured out, I'm like, I should do it more. I use it normally for like Frost Escape for She-Ra's stuff, She-Ra's Cape. But I felt like, I mean, it's obviously not an exact recreation, but I felt like sort of the shimmery stuff happening behind her, and this would be a fun way to sort of pay homage to that. And I'm just going to use sand, and we're going to be really boring with the rocks, but that will help the blue, the sky, and then her stand out, you know, because we've got these really bland sand colored stair. I mean, I'm going to shade it with some light browns and stuff, but mainly it's just going to be really boring sand colored rocks. So Sienna Brown again. I'm just going to use that for a little bit of shading on these very boring sand colored stones. But once I go back in with the sand and sort of blend them out, it won't be distracting, but they'll still look pretty cool. So. Alright, the sienna is done, so I'm just going to go back in with sand and sort of blend it and smooth it out. And it's about 9 minutes till, so obviously not going to finish this one today. But next Lord of the Rings live stream, I will get right to her. Or if it's not a full, I've got 2 or 3 other pages that I've started on streams that I didn't finish. I may just do at some point, depending. With work in progress stream where I just work on trying to finish off the 3 or 4 half-finished pages from other streams. So they're not sitting every time I open the live stream, like the physical folder, I keep all the live stream stuff in, reminding me that I haven't finished them yet. But we will definitely get these stairs finished. Alright, the stairs are done. It's about 4 minutes till, so there's no reason to even start on Galadriel. I'm going to save her for next week. So really quick, let's see. Right, yeah, I have, let's see, tomorrow, toy booklet which is actually a toy poster, but I turned into a booklet, and it's G.I. Joe 1982. So we're finally going to start getting some G.I. Joe stuff in there. Shorts every day for a while, of course. Sunday I'll be here live streaming. It will be some Supergirl stuff. Just because I did that Selena video last week, and in the process of that, had a bunch of Supergirl stuff that I need to do something with, and it felt like, hey, why not sort of tie into the video I dropped on Wednesday. Monday, I have a DC Comics Supervillains coloring book dropping with it's a flip through, and then there's Poison Ivy. I colored a Poison Ivy page in that book. And then on Wednesday, if I can get all the editing done, there will be a flip through of the DC Comics style guide with a coloring at the end of it of a page that I scanned and cleaned up and turned into a coloring page. So definitely check that out on Wednesday. I'll probably do that as a premiere in the afternoon so that we can chat during the video. So anyway, with that said, thank you everyone for joining me today. Muchly appreciated. Thank you again to Todd for the super chat. That is definitely appreciated. Let's see, there it is. The super sticker. Thank you so much. Every little bit helps, you guys. I appreciate you all for hanging out with me and listening to me ramble. Anyway, on that note, I will see you again in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.